Okay, today we're going to be talking about chapter 23, and it is on the competitive firm. It starts off with an overview again of pure competition, and that's where we're going to start. Most important thing you can know are the characteristics of pure competition. There are many firms, they produce identical products, meaning there are no differences. Low barriers to entry, it's easy to get in or out, perfect information. They produce at the profit maximizing rate where MR equals MC. In perfect competition, their marginal revenue is always equal to the price, and they follow what's called marginal cost pricing, which we'll get into in this chapter. They have zero long-term economic profit, a horizontal demand curve for the individual, and no market power. So, the first part of this chapter talks about what we call the investment decision. As you recall, the investment decision is a long-run decision on whether to enter or exit a market. Because there are low barriers to entry, people can come in and out of a perfectly competitive market. And what you see happen is if there are economic profits, more people tend to enter that market. As that happens, we'll see what the result is in that market. But it's those low barriers to entry to allow that to happen. There's a tendency towards zero long-term economic profit. And it's because of that evolution. We'll get to that later in the chapter. The keys to perfect competitive markets. It really comes down, their behaviors come down to these low barriers. The example they're going to use in this chapter to explore the whole concept is this idea of the computer market. When the computer market came of age, we saw the Apple I. That was the first personal computer available. The Apple I was the only one on the market. At that time, it would have been a monopoly. But what you saw is you've got an idea that can easily be replicated. And because it was profitable, very quickly, you saw everybody producing computers. Everybody out there, even Radio Shack, Texas Instruments, all these people were producing computers. So as you know, already, if we look back at our supply and demand curves, as more and more people enter the market, what happens? That supply curve shifts out. When that shifts out, we see price go down. So we have a price falling and a quantity raising. What does that mean to the people? Well, they're making their production decisions based on their MR and their MC, just like everyone else. That lure of profits is bringing more people into the market, which is really reducing the profit to those that are already there. And that's what we saw. As more and more people entered that market, it shoved that supply curve out. And in doing so, it reduces the profit to each one. And as one and another entered that market, we started seeing that downward trend in price while quantity was increasing. The computer market then shifted. It cut itself into two pieces, the home market and the personal computer market. The most competition were in the home computer market, where the price was the issue. There were baseline models, and price plummeted on those as people kept entering that market, going down. In the personal computer business, they tried to keep themselves shielded from this by upgrading constantly, making the computers better, and trying to maintain that price a little up. And you'll see in this chapter, as you read it, that what that did insulated them for a short time, but then they fell into the same trap. Because it is so easy to make a computer. It's just the assembling of parts. So there is no way. They're all using the same parts. There are lots of computer firms, very low barriers to get in. If you saw the first Apple I was built of a wooden box. Very easy to do. Now, as they got better at doing it, you saw Apple go to a plastic box. You saw other innovations. As their prices go down, or their costs go down, that's another shift. That's another determinant of supply. You constantly saw this shifting out. Some of them at one point started running into the shutdown point. And as you recall, the shutdown point is when AVC is greater than the price. Greater than price or marginal revenue. Once that happens, they shut down. Well, when a firm shuts down, in reality, what you see is they still have inventory to get rid of. What do they do with that inventory? They throw it out on clearance. Even though they're exiting the market, they flood the market even more. And again, that shifts this out. That's the theme in this chapter, and that's what pure competition deals with, is this continual shifting out. What that means is that price is always going down. So in order to be competitive, the way you have to do that is you've got to find ways to reduce your cost. It's the only way you can stay alive. The most effective, purely competitive firms are those that can reduce cost. It is all about efficiency, getting the most out of the least. And you see that theme throughout this chapter. This is where they get to this idea of marginal cost pricing. Because in pure competition, the profit maximizing rate is where MR equals MC. MR is equal to price in pure competition. So they end up selling it at exactly the same rate they're making it. Marginal cost becomes the supply curve for the purely competitive industry. They are considered the most efficient of all market structures because of this. There is no waste. Everything put in is translated right to the price that the customer is going to pay. Their costs, their entire structure is about reducing costs, squeezing out all waste, getting them to be the most efficient possible, and then giving that price to the customer. That's what they have to do. There is that relentless profit squeeze that's on them. That's why you see zero long-term economic profit. As more and more price reductions happen, long-term profit goes to zero. Remember, that's an economic profit, not accounting. So you see them updating technology, improving their product, and reducing costs. Have you seen this in the computer industry? In your lifetime, heck, in the last 2 years, just look at computer prices and what you get. You've gotten more power for less price over that time period. I know when I bought my first computer, my first real computer, it cost me about $1,700. My last computer was $700 and was 10 times more powerful than the first one I bought. And that's what you see over and over. Better features, more efficient production, prices coming down. And you're going to see that. The next evolution you can watch, if you want to. Flat screen TVs. When they originally came out, $10,000. Already they're down under $1,000, and we're seeing that same pressure to bring them down. Price is coming down, cost is coming down. It's that relentless profit squeeze that is experienced there. Purely competitive businesses have to become more efficient. They are the best model for economics. However, there are others that we're going to cover in this section as well.